This is the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2, with tons of new features, hidden design changes, a significantly larger battery, and in many ways, this is the best Galaxy Watch to buy. I've been wearing this for almost a week now, and this is not just a first impressions video. I want to give you an early look into my testing to see how accurate the heart rate, the sleep tracking, the GPS, and even a lot of the health and wellness features actually are. There are a lot of changes in this watch, and I have no doubt this is Samsung's best and most capable watch right now, but it's not cheap. So in this video, my goal is to answer the question, should you buy the $699 Galaxy Watch Ultra 2, or is it worth it to save some money on the Galaxy Watch 9 or Galaxy Watch Ultra in the previous generation? If you look at them side by side, the differences are subtle on the outside. And speaking of that, let's start off with the design in general. One of the first differences you can't actually see, and it's the IP rating on here. This is now IP69K rated, and of course 10 atmospheres of water, which will be useful later on when I talk about the diving feature. It's also 12% slimmer, but otherwise it is a 47mm body, very much like the previous generation. You'll see the bezel now has numbers on it, so slightly different tick marks on the outside, but still the same 3 buttons on the right side, slightly different configuration there, a little bit less color, and now we have a 360 guard around that center right action button, so that should help to prevent accidental presses, and in my experience, it actually does a pretty good job of that. We've got microphones and speakers on here, seeing that on the left side, of course. That's useful for voice assistant, for phone calls. This is the same strap design as the previous watch, which means you just press the button on the back, you pull it out. I actually really like this, and if you want to buy third-party straps on Amazon, first of all, there should be some that fit this now, but they also sell little lug adapters, so you could fit other, basic 20 or 22mm straps on here. The battery on the inside, as I said, is now 35% larger at 800 milliamp hours. 2 thoughts on that. One, I did a battery test where I fully charged it, used this watch very, very heavily. So I charged it at 10 a.m. and 2 days later it died at about 3 p.m. So you're looking at about 2.5 days of very heavy usage. Considering this is an 800 milliamp hour battery, I was hoping it would go a little bit longer. It is a more efficient chip on here, and I think you could stretch it to 3 days pretty easily. Like I said, I was using it heavily, but I didn't actually have always on display on. I was just doing a lot with the watch. And a downside of having that larger battery without new charging technology, this takes a really long time to charge. Plugging in for like a quick little 10 or 15 minutes doesn't give you that much of a boost. The display on here is 5,000 nits, so incredibly bright. It's a 1.52-inch display, and according to Samsung, that makes it the brightest display in any smartwatch. The build on here, very much like last year, comes in 2 colors, gray and silver. Both are titanium, 47mm body, 12% slimmer in this profile, so less likely to get caught on long sleeves. And this now has 3 band options. The marine band, which you can see right here, this green one. I actually really like this. It's thinner, it's silicone, it's lightweight. Very big fan of this one. Compared to last year's like really thick, bulky band that honestly collected a lot of dust, this one's much better. They also have Peak Form, which is like a silicone hybrid, and Trail, which is a fabric band. Of course, like I said, third-party bands are out there. So that's the outside design of this watch. There's some differences under the hood. We've got a new chip, as I'll talk about later on with a speed test. This also does come in LTE. Actually, it always comes with LTE. And that's why the price for this is just set at $699. There's no variations in size or LTE or anything like that. And I will have links down below. If you guys want to pre-order this, you could save some money. I think Samsung has some like early pre-order bonuses. I'll have those links in the description. And also YouTube shopping allows me to tag the product. So depending on if you're watching like mobile, TV, desktop, whatever, it's going to be somewhere on the screen here, or just check out the description for those links. I'll also have links to the best sale prices on the previous generation. And of course, later in the video, I'll talk about if I think you should save the money and buy last year's model, or if it's worth it to get this new one. Now, I think people are going to use this for 3 main things: fitness and workouts, health tracking, and just as an everyday kind of extension of your phone as a smartwatch. So I want to break this video into those 3 chapters. Starting off with the fitness and the workouts, there is some new stuff on here. For example, trail running, which allows route mapping on there. You get an elevation map, nutrition alerts. Basically, you're going to upload a GPX file to the watch, and it'll kind of tell you what elevation's coming. It's going to predict sweat loss and helps you plan when you're running through the mountains. And kind of the opposite of that, this also has diving on here. So Samsung partnered with Mares. They made a new app for Samsung. I'm not a scuba diver, like I would love to get into it, but at least from what I understand right now, this has like compression limits, time without having to decompress, speed alerts, depth tracking, water temperature, and things like that. And much like the Apple Watch Ultra, this will just automatically open once you go below, I think it's like 1 meter of depth. So there are a couple new things. Those, as of right now, are not rolling out to the previous generation, although I highly suspect a lot of these features will work their way to other Samsung watches. As far as the heart rate accuracy goes, let's talk about like just a regular workout people do every day. I went for a run with this, and I have to say, this is a very big positive. Compared to an H10 ECG strap, which is our reference device, I was on a treadmill, and this did an incredible job. The R value was 99, and an R squared of 98. For reference, closer to 1.00 is better, which means that these are nearly perfect. And I was steady state for most of the run, but I did 2 heavy intervals at the end, and it tracked those very well also. Now, optical heart rate sensors very often lag when you change your heart rate, so, intervals can be very difficult. And you'll see there is a little bit of lag sometimes, but very, very minimal. Now, I did this on a treadmill, not outside, so it is a little bit easier, but I did that because, the wildfire smoke here has it looking like Star Wars outside, so I'm going to do more testing with this in the future. And by the way, if you guys want to see the future test results, I'm going to be wearing this for an entire month, testing it very extensively. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video. So as far as GPS accuracy goes, early tests on this show very positive results. Unsurprisingly, it was good last year as well. And this has dual band GPS, which should be beneficial if you're in, canyons or big mountains around you or tall buildings, anywhere that you don't have like a really big clear view of the sky. Dual band can be very, very helpful. As far as the workout experience goes, so I've talked a lot about positive aspects of this for tracking, and it does a really good job. It's very, very accurate, but I have a little bit of a complaint about the workout experience. So when you're wearing this watch, the buttons don't do workout things. The buttons keep doing smartwatch things. So for example, the buttons are gonna like open up Samsung Wallet or open up Gemini or open up a timer, like different things that are just not related to what I want. So there's no option, for example, to rest between laps. I know it automatically does that, and it does actually a really good job, but sometimes I wanna like pause and see how long I'm resting, how long my immediate intervals were on the watch. You also can't change the workout screen because when you're swimming, everything is, touch and swipe on here, but swimming locks the screen because obviously you're in the water. So what you do, let's say, for example, if you accidentally push this big orange button on the side and it opens up a stopwatch, then stop the stopwatch, switch back to your workout app, pause it, and restart it so that then you have that water lock back on. All of that is so annoying and useless. I really wish the buttons would just do only workout things when you're in a workout. I don't need my wallet during the workout. And like I said, there's literally no way to switch your workout screens during a swim unless you turn off that water lock and then manually swipe. Like if you have multiple displays, like you want to show your lap time, you want to show your heart rate on different screens, that's annoying. And swimming's not the only offender here. Think about it. If you're running, your hands are very likely sweaty, and wet hands and touchscreens just don't really get along that well. So that's my complaint. But of course, positives, it was still great at detecting what stroke I was doing, how many laps I was swimming, even heart rate was surprisingly good in the pool. Overall, great display to read. I like working out with this, just awful user experience with those buttons, especially because unlike, many Garmin devices or even the Pixel Watch and Apple Watch, this has no rotating bezel or rotating crown and relies purely on the buttons, which do nothing during a workout, and the touchscreen, which is off when you're swimming. Okay, so I'll get off my soapbox. That was my big complaint about this watch. It feels like it's really catered towards working out, but at the same time, it feels like the people who designed it didn't do swim workouts with it and compare it to other good fitness watches. Now, getting into the app and the analytics, there's a lot that I really like here. So there are 2 apps with this watch. You're gonna have Samsung Health for pretty much all of the analytics you're getting. And you've got all these tabs across the top. The first one is like your dashboard. You can customize everything this is showing you. Mostly I have it set up to show me like health stuff, but you've got activity here. So in activities, it shows you, for example, activities this week. I can go down and check out this run I did yesterday. And within that, you've got a lot of details, pace, steps, elevation, all the stuff you'd expect. But you've got maps and charts down there if you want to see your heart rate chart, and you've got your heart rate zones. And what I really like is the advanced metrics. So it feels like it really is collecting a lot of data and giving you useful information for things like running. The Samsung watches have been doing this for a little while, but again, I just wanted to point it out that I like it. Like for example, I need to improve my stiffness while I run. All of this is pretty customizable as well, and it does connect to Strava, so you'll automatically have your workouts synced over there. So in summary, workouts are very capable, very accurate, inclusive of many styles like triathlons, trail running, and of course the basics like running and swimming. Just, I have that one complaint playing with the buttons. Now, the next thing is going to be health and wellness. Now, we have a lot here. Now, the next reason you might be wearing this watch would be health and wellness. Think about tracking sleep and heart rate and things like that. There's a lot here. Samsung really loads this with a lot of features. So looking at the app again, you've got those 6 tabs. Going back to my dashboard, one is called Vitals. So Vitals, it takes like 6 or 7 days. It looks like 7 nights to actually get this calibrated, but it's using 5 metrics: your heart rate variability, heart rate, temperature, respiratory rate, and blood oxygen. After 7 nights, you get a baseline. I think Apple Watch does almost exactly the same thing, but it's just cool that you can see, this all in one nice clean metric. At the top, like I said, we got our 6 tabs there: activity, sleep, vitals, mindfulness, and nutrition, which, by the way, for nutrition, you are able to scan labels and stuff. Pretty useful. Another feature is called heart health score. So if I scroll down, heart health right here is based on 4 things, including sleep time, BMI, activity, and your estimated blood pressure. Interestingly, none of those are actually based on your heart rate, but it makes sense these factors would be your general heart health. And right now, mine's not showing anything because it's still waiting to calibrate on the blood pressure. Samsung also added daily cardio load, which helps you understand when to push or rest. And one of my favorite ones is if I go over to activity, I can scroll down and we have a fitness index. Now, this is a little pentagon chart, so 5 things here. They look at body composition, so you obviously have to measure that on the watch, cardio, endurance, strength, and the interesting one is flexibility. I'm not sure exactly how it's estimating flexibility. It tells you it's doing it based on your body composition, and it does change day to day based on what your body comp shows. But again, it's not like asking you, can you touch your toes and stuff like that. So that one's a little bit interesting, but it's nice that based on this, it can give you personalized training recommendations and workout programs. Overall, I think this is actually a pretty useful page to have just as a general goal. I personally really like how, some devices gamify things and have fitness age or whatever, a fitness index makes sense to me. Of course, one of the major health tracking features on a watch is going to be sleep, which is why it has this whole tab here. I compared this to the Muse EEG headband. So I really wanted to look at 2 main things: deep sleep and REM. So if you're tracking your sleep stages, then those are the 2 that are going to be most restorative. So I wore the Oura Ring, the Fitbit Air, the Galaxy Watch Ultra2, and the Muse headband. So the headband is our reference device here. Last night, I had 1 hour and 12 minutes of deep sleep, and the Oura Ring 5 gave me 1 hour 15 minutes, so about 3 minutes off. The Fitbit was exactly right at 112, and the Galaxy Watch had 59 minutes. So that gives you a 4% error on Oura, 0% on Fitbit, and 18% on Galaxy Watch Ultra 2, which is not a strong start. Then for the REM sleep, I had 1 hour and 14 minutes of REM. The Oura gave me 1 hour 23, the Fitbit, hour 21, and the Galaxy Watch, 1 hour 37. So it underestimated deep sleep, overestimated REM, maybe some transition in there, it just didn't quite get right, but that gives you 12% error on the Oura, 9.5% on the Fitbit, and 31% error on the Galaxy Watch. Now, sleep stages are not everything, but it's generally not the strongest start for sleep tracking. However, I still think that while those are very important, generally tracking one night versus the next matters a lot more. So if Galaxy's always estimating low on deep sleep, as long as they're consistent, that makes sense. As I wear this for a month, I'll see if that is the case. And of course, heart rate variability, resting heart rate, motion, temperature, blood oxygen, all of those things play a huge role in how well you are recovered the next day. And Galaxy, as you saw before, does an excellent job with heart tracking, so I have a lot of confidence there. Heart rate variability, I was tracking 82 last night, 70 on Fitbit, 77 with Oura. Without a reference device, I can't say which one is actually correct, but I have a lot of confidence in the Galaxy Watch for that as well. So summarizing the sleep tracking, I have a lot of confidence in many of the metrics, just not a ton of confidence in the actual sleep stages right now. But as I continue to wear this, I will record the anecdotes of how do I actually feel and what is the sleep score, and I'll put that in the 1 month later video. Much like last year, Samsung has antioxidant index, which you just press your thumb on the back of the watch, basically tells you how many carrots you eat. The energy score is basically like a recovery score, so it's going to be based on a lot of the big metrics like how long did you sleep, was it consistent sleep, what time did you go to sleep, what was your heart rate variability. I think that's a really big one right here, and it kind of breaks it down. I like that it doesn't just give you the score, it goes into detail into what you could actually improve, which apparently I don't have anything to improve there. I feel good today. I actually did sleep really well last night, but I will be flying a lot, so I'm going to see how it performs. And by the way, it doesn't update continuously throughout the day. It's not like Garmin Body Battery. It's much more like just a general recovery score in the morning to let you know how much you should really push today. As far as body composition goes, this is something that is really foundational in a lot of, for example, fitness index. And I don't have the highest confidence in the accuracy here. Now, I didn't do a DEXA scan, but just looking at general variation from one measurement to the next, I've been using the Withings Body Scan 2 for about 2 weeks now, and that measures between like upper 10s and upper 12% body fat, which I don't know if that's accurate or not, but having that range makes a lot of sense to me. Like, that's going to be a reasonable inaccuracy, about a 7% change day to day. Not great, but in the 3 weeks I've used it, it's always been within that window. The Galaxy Watch, however, yesterday was 15.5%, today was 18% body fat. So not only is it offset a lot higher, but a 16% change between the two of those is pretty dramatic in my opinion. And so generally, health stuff, I know I could talk about this all day, but very, very extensive. I expect most people would have slightly different priorities with this watch based on your goals, but I appreciate how many options there are here. And Samsung does a really good job of giving you like one index, energy score, fitness index, something like that. And then you can dive deeper into see what variables actually change it. They're not opaque about that at all. Then finally, the third category in this video, probably the main one I think people would be buying this smartwatch for, even though it's obviously marketed to be, this fitness and health tracking device. I mean, if you only cared about fitness and health tracking, a lot of the sports watches give you like a 30-day battery life, and they do fantastic jobs tracking your fitness and your health. So the main reason you would get this watch in the first place over a Garmin or a Suunto or a Amazfit is going to be the smartwatch abilities. And this thing is an excellent smartwatch. This does have a new chip on here. This is the Snapdragon Wear Elite. So let's do a little speed test here, comparing this to the previous generation Galaxy Watch Ultra. I mean, honestly, based on this, like there are times when it is definitely faster. The previous watch was already pretty quick though. So opening apps, opening, Google Play or whatever, even asking Gemini, there's not a huge speed difference. So yeah, it's a little faster, it's a little bit more efficient, but as far as speed goes, I don't know if that's gonna be enough to justify upgrading over the previous generation or even choosing the newest one versus the last generation. Obviously, longevity is something to factor in, and I'll talk about that in a second, but other things to consider. This is in the Samsung ecosystem, so if you connect Galaxy Buds to your phone, they'll connect to your watch very easily. But you can also connect other Bluetooth earbuds, and you can get music on your watch. It'll automatically sync with your phone if you have downloaded files on your phone, but you can also set up, Spotify or a SoundCloud or a number of other music streaming services, and you can usually, if you have Spotify Premium, for example, you can download the songs to your watch and go for a run without your phone. If you pay for an LTE plan, then you don't need to download the songs. This will work anywhere because it obviously has LTE. This also has a hearing protection feature, and I think this did kill my battery a little bit because it's just always listening for loud sounds. I found it was quite nice. I go to a lot of concerts, and sometimes there's a nice reminder where it says, hey, you're over 90 decibels, 30 minutes of this volume could cause hearing damage, maybe try some earplugs. And the biggest feature, let me put my watch on so I can show you this. This came out last year. I've been using it so much, and okay, I'll start off with this. My biggest complaint about smartwatches like this that don't have the rotating crown and rotating bezel is you have to like swipe up, and finding the apps is so annoying. Like on the Apple Watch, it's just so annoying to go down and find something. And I mean, eventually you get used to the icons, but it's just so much easier and faster to just lift your watch up and ask Gemini to, do all kinds of stuff. It can do things, obviously Gemini related, like answering questions, but it can also do stuff on the watch. It doesn't usually interpret data, but it'll redirect you. For example, if I say, how much did I swim this week? It opens Samsung Health and it shows me, I can dig into different activities I've done.
Start a run workout that burns 150 calories.
Also, if I ask, how many steps did I take? Or example, if I say open Strava, it just opens the Strava app. It's really nice. And as far as smartwatches go, I think this is very, very well done. As I mentioned before, this does have a speaker and microphone on board, so you can field phone calls with this. You can use it for Bixby, Gemini. There's a number of different things. Also alerts or like coaching while you're running. It can tell you, different cues. But let's get into the pros and the cons of this watch. So pros, this is definitely the most capable Galaxy Watch. Solid battery life, great display, great features. Overall, really good at pretty much everything. Really a jack of all trades. But not everything is perfect. So like I said, if you care about this as a smartwatch, definitely solid smartwatch. If you care about it mostly for fitness and health, it's kind of a little tougher competition because you've got the Garmins and the Suuntos out there that give you other features. For example, a flashlight on your watch, which if you've never used it, you're gonna laugh at me, but if you have a flashlight on your watch right now, you're gonna know how incredible that feature actually is. The buttons not doing workout things makes it feel a little bit less optimized for working out and things like that. And even though the battery life can get you through a pretty decent length triathlon, it feels like it's not quite all the way there. But for a smartwatch, like I said, this is a fantastic smartwatch, no doubt. So is it worth it? Well, let's go through who might be buying this watch. If you have a much older watch, like the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, I think from a couple years ago, yeah, this is a massive upgrade. You should absolutely get this one. If you have last generation Galaxy Watch Ultra, I think you can skip this one. Like, the differences are going to be so subtle. A lot of them are feature based, and I have a feeling that many of the features will roll back. And if you're just trying to buy and just get into the Samsung ecosystem, do you want this, the Galaxy Watch 9, the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic, or do you want last generation Galaxy Watch Ultra? I will have links to all of them down below. What I recommend you do is go down and check out what the prices and benefits actually are. Sometimes Samsung has a lot of promos on this, and it might really be worth it just to get the newest one because you are more future-proof then. This is gonna last a longer time, more updates, the fresher chip on here, and of course the larger battery does have a big advantage. But if you see a difference of more than, I would say, $100, yeah, the previous Galaxy Watch Ultra is still a great buy. It's still an excellent device, and I was wearing it just earlier this week before I switched over to the Ultra 2. So that's my take on the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2. Leave a comment down below with any questions you have, any tests I should do before the 1 month later update, and any comparisons you would like to see. Like, should I compare this to the Apple Watch Ultra? Should I compare this to a Garmin? Or should I compare it to like the Pixel Watch or just other Galaxy Watch devices? Thanks for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.